Good evening to all those joining us online, be it in the Trinity Chapel, YouTube, Facebook. You are all most welcome. Thank you for joining us this evening. Cropover is one of the most anticipated events of the calendar year. Barbadians and friends have been celebrating it for years. It is said that you haven't lived until you have experienced the carnival spirit that is felt during Cropover. In 2020 and 2021, the COVID-19 pandemic, our national festival basically to a pause, but it is back. Modified, amended, scaled, but it is back. Our topic for this evening is Cropover, Play Safe Mass. Before we get started this evening, however, I would like to invite Ms. Cynthia Gittings to lead us in an opening prayer. Cynthia?
Okay, good evening. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the privilege of being able to come together this evening for another conversations. We ask your blessings on our panelists, Ronald, Eleanor, and Anthony, and pray that you will guide them in their presentations. We pray that all those gathered here will open their minds to receive and appreciate the information shared with us as we anticipate the upcoming Cropover activities. We pray, Lord, that our citizens will adhere to the protocols established for our safety amidst all the merriment, and that you will guide and protect those tasked with the responsibility of monitoring and enforcing all protocols. Father, we thank you for your ongoing protection, and we pray that we will have a safe Cropover. All these things we pray in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Cynthia. Before we get started as well, just a few housekeeping matters for you tonight. We ask that you have your mics muted to avoid any background noises or feedback, and I know the tech team tends to do that. We definitely look forward to your participating in our question and answer period. We invite you to raise your hand or perhaps place a question or comment in the chat. Please unmute your mic when you're called upon to speak. And we would also love to see your faces, the faces basically of who we're speaking to, so that we can encourage you to speak to us. You can see who we're speaking to, you can see each other. So when you get the opportunity, please turn your cameras on if you would like to. I should say that at times the media covers these series, and therefore you can be mindful of the comments that you make. This, of course, is not to discourage you from speaking, to encourage you, but certainly you just need to be mindful that from time to time, conversations are in fact monitored by the media. It is said that there are 4 official seasons in the Caribbean: cricket, Cropover, Carnival, and Christmas. Cropover began as a way to celebrate the end of the sugarcane crop, but it has evolved to be so much more. It is about embracing and celebrating life. Our national festival attracts people from around the globe who come to witness the signs, the sounds, the revelry, the harmony, the unity of Barbados. Now, Mr. Harding was a symbol of the hard times between sugar crops when employment was low and money was scarce. He was burned to symbolize hope that the rough times would not be too rough or too hard. Certainly, the COVID-19 pandemic dealt a devastating blow to the economy of Barbados in 2020 and 2021. If ever a time Mr. Harding needed to be burned, it was definitely in 2020 and 2021. The pandemic is still with us, but life has to go on. Part of the resumption to some semblance of normalcy was the government's planning for Cropover 2022. But in the midst of the planning, the partying, and the parading, we still have to keep safe. We have a wonderful panel for you this evening to share their views and how they plan to enjoy or participate in crop over, but ensure that it is done in as safe a manner as possible. For you online, you've come to the right place to hear that it can be done and how it can be done. We have our panelists tonight with us. We have Mrs. Eleanor Rice, we have Mr. Anthony Lane, and we have Mr. Ronald Chapman. I don't see Ronald has signed in just yet. Are you there, Ronald? I'm not hearing him either. Hopefully he will sign in before it's too late. I'll introduce and give you a little bit of background about our panelists this evening. I'll start with Mrs. Eleanor Rice. Mrs. Rice has been in the cultural field from the age of 8, be it singing or drama. She has indicated to me that in fact she was an actress in the National Geographic film, Locked Up Abroad, Barbados. She sang in Conqueror's Calypso Tent from 1987 until All Stars Calypso Tent was formed in 2001. From 2008, Eleanor has been managing the All Stars Calypso Tent. She's very proud that they have taken 8 persons to the semifinals and as many as 7 persons to the finals of the Pick of the Crop. Eleanor, welcome tonight to Trinity Chapel. I have also with me Mr. Anthony Lane. Mr. Lane is a veteran telecommunications specialist with over 30 years in that field. He is also a project manager with over 10 years experience. He has been a supervisor, manager, and chief executive officer. I think what a lot of persons know him as, however, is the managing director of the Contact Band, Inc., and the president of the Barbados Association of Masqueraders. Welcome, Anthony. And I will introduce Mr. Chapman, although I don't see him online just yet. Mr. Ronald Chapman is in fact the Deputy Chief Environmental Health Officer, but he's now more familiarly known as the head of the COVID-19 Protocol Monitoring Unit. The COVID-19 Protocol Monitoring Unit was established in May 2020 and currently has about 65 persons with it. Mr. Chapman holds an undergraduate degree and has also been trained in public sector management. I think, however, that his master's in medical entomology from the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine is perhaps the main reason he currently holds the portfolio which he does. Ronald, thank you for joining us if you have joined us, and if you have not yet, we look forward to you joining us. At this point, I would like to invite each panelist to give some opening remarks, perhaps 5 to 7 minutes. I will start with you, Eleanor, followed by Anthony, and hopefully Mr. Chapman would have joined us. Eleanor, it's over to you.
Good night to you, Annette, and a special good night to your church members. I believe they are of the Holy Trinity Church. I want to also say thank you for having the confidence that I could do this. But anyone that knows me, they know it's about crop over. I love crop over. And if it is one thing that I would like to say, anything to help crop over grow, anything to see a great, fantastic crop over, I'm all for it. So I go ahead with my fast self and try to get certain new initiatives installed when the year comes around. Now, I've been managing All Stars, as you said, from 2008, and I run a very clean, tight show, and I want persons to know the reason why it is so well done is because it's something that is very thought out. So even now with the COVID surrounding all of us, even in this, we have to sit down and work out how is the best way that we can go forward, getting it done, getting people to want to leave their homes and come out to sit among people. But then, you know, I sit and I say, I have started back traveling from the time they said you can come and get on the planes. And what is the weirdest thing is that you sit next to two people sometimes that you've never seen in your life. Now, how is that possible? That is possible because something was put in place to allow you to be able to get on the plane and sit, as I said, next to persons that you never even saw in your life and probably never see again. You get off the plane and you're well, then you have to go for a test again because you take one before you leave here, you take one when you're on your way back into Barbados, and you're well. So it is all about the protocols. We need to continue doing what we know is right in order to survive the COVID. And just to finish for now, I want to say that I have not contracted COVID to date because somebody said, everybody's going to get it. I said, well, I don't know about that. So I just want to say that we all have to look out for each other and others, and we will get through this. So that's my 2 cents for now.
Thank you very much, Eleanor. I totally agree. We do have to look out for each other, and we have to look out for our family members, ourselves, and so on.
Yeah.
Anthony, you're still with us? I hope so. I can see him.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Hi, welcome
hear
to
me?
Trinity Chapel. Good night. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thanks for having me, first of all. But just to say that I'm on the road, I could not, it was unavoidable at this time. And I didn't want to disappoint you, Annette. I didn't want to disappoint you at all by saying that I could not make it. So here I am. So first of all, let me just say, thanks for having me. And I am deeply humble to be able to speak to with the esteemed panel and all the persons in attendance from Holy Trinity. Just to say at the outset is that, yes, I'm a band leader, but I have deep roots in the Anglican Church because I was a senior server at St. Michael's Cathedral and under Dean Harold Critchlow, and I'm very much a church person. Some people might be surprised to know that, but I am. Yeah, so I speak to you this evening, though, and I will speak from the angle of a band leader, president of BAM, but more now as a band leader, and to say to the persons in attendance that bands are a business just like any other business. Band leaders have invested thousands of dollars in their bands over the years. I've been a band leader for probably over 10 years. I'm assistant band leader, another 10. So I was with the Contact Band for a long time, from back in the day where the band was aligned with Cable and Wireless. And now it is now a private organization, which I run as well. When you go back 10, 15 years, there were only probably 3 or so festivals around. Barbados had Cropova, Trinidad had a Carnival, and probably I think it was St. Vincent. I speak subject to correction, but I think it was only about 3. Today, nearly every country in the Caribbean has a festival. And I'm not even going to go outside of the Caribbean to the wider world. I would just say, speak about the Caribbean for now. And there's a reason for that, right? And the reason is that there's something called, what I call a carnival economy out there. And that's the reason why nearly every country, you can speak about Antigua, St. Kitts, Grenada, every country now in the Caribbean has a festival because there's a carnival economy, because this is business. And this is a business like any other business, like a store, like a bar, like a restaurant, you name it. And any other business, it just is a business as well. And we have invested lots of money, and people may wonder and I know it was said, but this is a COVID environment where you want to have crop over, where you want to have people out there, as they say, dancing upon one another. But it's a lot more to it than just that, right? And this is a business where designers, they have designers overseas in Trinidad, that this is all they do. This is their career. They design costumes for bands all over the world, and that's all they do, because it's big business. And I would hope that the Barbadian public will look at it and see it from that angle, where we could encourage our children, and they could encourage their children that this is something you can get into. This is something that you can make a career of, right? Because you can do this year in, year out. Because over the world, there's carnivals throughout the year. And there are a lot of persons in Trinidad that this is all they do, and you might not know of, but Eleanor might know of a band in Trinidad called Tribe. I was introduced to Tribe years ago. The people that run Tribe today were little young people years ago. I was introduced to their father, and the father introduced me to their children. And their children, there are about 3 of them, but I know for sure one of them was a pilot. The other one was a doctor. And they both resigned from their specific careers and went into this band thing, So that says something. So just to say that, this is business, is a business like any other business. It is a business that young people can get into, to be designers and so on, and producers of bands. And producers of bands makes lots of money. Let me tell you. Even you go back, even in China, the Chinese people are running us down to produce costumes because it's big business. So I just hope that, I know you all are from the church, just like I am, but I hope you would understand that this is big business, all right? And it's something that you should look at very seriously, and that's the reason why we should have a crop over this year, because it is business. Thank you.
Is Ronald on? I don't see his name appearing. Hello? All right, I'm not quite sure why he hasn't been able to come in yet, but I wanted to follow up with you with respect to the fact that, yes, crop over is a business. Yes, we want to ensure that businesses thrive and survive. But Anthony, what protocols do you have in place to protect your clients? Because your clients help to make your business grow and succeed. So what protocols do you have in place? What COVID-19 protocols do you have in place to protect your same clients so they to ensure that they come back year after year? And I'll have the same question for Eleanor, because with respect to the tents, what protocols do you have in place? So I'll start with Anthony first, who has indicated that it is a business and we have to treat it as a business, but we also need to protect our clients who keep us in business. Anthony?
Yes, but of course, we will be, we have the same protocols.
Has he dropped out? No.
That
We lost you there for a minute, Anthony. You're dropping in and out.
the respirators, if vaccinated, then they have to be tested. We would, make sure that all the protocols are adhered to. We will not lapse there at all. But but when a band, because a band is like a bubble, because my band, the persons in my band will be with my band. They won't be all over the place. So when they move, they will move in a bubble. So, once we make sure that the protocols are adhered to, and if you're not fully vaccinated, you're tested. The test results are done within the specific period, which is, I think, about 72 hours or so. Then we'll be good to go. But in our day-to-day life, you have the same experiences. You have the same things that can happen in terms of you might go in a store. You gotta sanitize and what have you, but still, you never know. So it's no different, really. It's no different to the cricket. It is no different to Oistins. It's no different to Agrofest. So we will be doing the same to protect our people as much as possible. It is not foolproof, right? Because nothing is foolproof. Because if it was, then we even got a problem today. But we will do our best to make sure we protect our people as much as possible.
What about yourself, Eleanor, with respect to the tents? Persons are going into the tents. Have your tents, by the way, started yet? I'm not quite sure.
Okay, well, I'll use this opportunity also to invite the Holy Trinity congregation, along with you, Annette, to the, I nearly said the wrong thing, to the Pace Digital COB Credit Union All-Stars Calypso tent. And we are starting the ball rolling first, as usual, on Saturday, June 18th at 4 p.m. At 4 p.m. Any person who is a BART member, your admission is $40. If you buy early bird tickets, which should go on sale like tomorrow, your admission is $40. If you pay at the door, it's $50. Now, let me just say it again, that we all have to do what is required of us to make ourselves safe. Okay, so in saying that, you will be sanitized. I remember when I heard about Agrofest. Now, I also am into sales. I have my own store and everything. And when I heard about Agrofest, they said you have to be vaccinated and then come. But then it was changed. And they said you will be sanitized at the door and come on in. And I said, hey, wait now. We have entertainers going on stage and they want them to be fully vaccinated or present a PCR negative, not PCR, a rapid test, and then they can be allowed to sing. You have Agrofest, which had at least 5,000 to 6,000 people there. And you were sanitized at the entrance. And I said to myself, well, this to me is like double. This is double standards. This is two different places. This is something completely different. Because the same way you can do that, when you think about it, the singers and the band people are on the stage, it is highly unlikely that whatever they have can get down to the audience. So if they say to us that we have to be vaccinated or we have to present the test, then that's what we will have to do. But that's not what is holding for the patrons attending the show. But we have to do what we are asked to do in order to make everyone feel safe. Let us talk about the people who gather. And Anthony just now said that if you're in the band, then you're in a bubble. I am sure that half, three quarters, a quarter of the persons at Agrofest knew nothing about each other. I am sure about that. I don't have to ask anybody. I don't need no one to answer me. No one knew each other. But if you see togetherness, if you see the togetherness, but what is interesting is that the numbers for the COVID results per day are going down. Surely if persons in the park had any problems, it would have risen by now. That was a week ago. So again, I come back to say that if they're asking us to be fully vaccinated or present the rapid negative test, that's what we will do. But each of us have to be responsible for our own actions at the end of the day. And I'll say this to you, Calypsonians love to see each every year. They do, because it's like a family, and one went away for a while, and then when you see the person come back, you won't go to this party with the person or go to that other party. They want to see each other. So I know, and I'm not being silly. I know that they're not always going to have on their mask either. I know that. But again, when you're backstage in the dressing room, you're like in a bubble. So I guess it can work. But we will be having time, and we will be safe. And we are going to put on the best show that Trinity would want to see.
Thank you very much. I'm sure that will be the case. I certainly invite our listeners to pose their questions or jumping and asking questions at all. But I take your point with respect to Oistins and cricket and AgriFest, Anthony, that we saw such massive crowds, and a lot of times masks were not being worn. The protocols have been a little bit more relaxed, as a matter of fact, within the last couple of weeks. I imagine they'll be similarly with respect to the crop over and the crop over festivities. But I agree with you, Eleanor. We do have to look out for. We have to look out for ourselves, but we have to also look out for others as well as we continue to celebrate our national festival. But Anthony, you spoke about you're moving in a bubble. What is your band doing to get persons into this bubble? We talk about the various protocols, whether it's sanitizing, vaccination, rapid antigen tests, whatever. But at the end of the day, this bubble that is created, is there any fear that this bubble is going to burst, or are there going to be any consequences?
Right. So when I say a bubble, I was speaking from the view of you will have, so if you have 10 bands, for argument's sake, each band moves separately. Okay. So if one band has in 200 people or whatever, or my band has in 200 people, when I move off, those 200 people move the same time. So they will move off together. That's my band. So the next band now will probably move another 15, 20 minutes after me. So there will be no intermingling of the bands, if you understand what I'm saying. So when we say bubble, we mean a bubble like that, okay? Where you move as band A will move as band A. So in other words, like at AgriFest, as Alan has said, there were people down there that, you know, but at least if you go in band A, you're with band A. Band A will not necessarily mix up with band B, nor C, nor D, nor E. Everybody will be moving, you know, separately, individually, so to speak. So when we say a bubble, I speak of a bubble from that perspective.
Okay, so therefore, as the president of the Masqueraders, the Barbados Association of Masqueraders, are you having meetings with the various band leaders to basically ensure that they understand and fully appreciate the protocols that have been put in place? Do they have any queries or questions with respect to these protocols? What have their concerns been with respect to these protocols? Because you now have to listen to their concerns and possibly take them to either the NCF or some area of government. What have their concerns been?
Well, we were meeting from 2019, We were meeting from 29 after Crop Over 2019, looking at Crop Over 2020. Crop Over 2019 was a pretty big year for the majority of persons. We were meeting from 2019, 2020 right through, from 2020 to 2021 with the NCF to now. The band leaders really though, seeing what's going on now, over the last 3 to 4 months, the position of the band leaders is that they would like to have the same, type of ease as the other businesses or organizations or events like cricket, like AgriFest, like all of those other entities. Because what has happened is that because of all of these, because of the protocols that are in place, there are other carnivals throughout the Caribbean, like for instance, Grenada, who is the week after Barbados, the weekend after Barbados, Crop Over, that the majority of, well, not, I shouldn't say the majority, but some of the persons that would normally come to Barbados are going to Grenada. So we will, we have already lost a lot of overseas people that would normally come here that are going to the other carnivals. So there the band leaders, back to the point, the band leaders were already asking from months ago to relax some of the protocols and put it out there in the early so that, you would get the persons coming to Barbados. At this point in time, there are some band leaders that would tell you that, they don't think it should be vaccinated or tested. There's some that may say, yeah, but what we really asked for was to be vaccinated or tested. And it has been relaxed to that point. So now if you're vaccinated, you don't have to be tested. But if you are not vaccinated, you have to be tested, right? But if you're vaccinated, you don't have to be tested. And that's where it is right now. And that's what we were asking for. So, we are pretty pleased with that one.
I have a question in the chat from Walter Eady, and he's saying, good evening all. What, if anything, will be done differently to improve the model and expand viewership to the diaspora? Now, I'm not quite sure if we can answer that here, but perhaps Anthony and Ellen can say what perhaps you would like to see happen, if possible, anything at all to improve the model and expand the viewership to the diaspora.
Could you repeat the question?
You would like to see happen?
Yeah, repeat the question.
I didn't hear the question.
Sure. He's saying, what, if anything, will be done differently to improve the model and expand the viewership to the diaspora? As I said, I don't know if we can determine that here, but perhaps we can ask you what you would like to see done differently, Anthony and Eleanor, what perhaps you would like to see done differently to improve the model and expand viewership to the diaspora. Is there anything that you would like to see happen?
Well, life as it is, we always are looking for ways, and I think I started that in my discourse. I'm always one for trying to see how best we can improve our Crop Over festival. And I want to say that I have done now everything for Crop Over that could be done. I started as a marshal. I have done every single thing. I still am singing background vocals in my tent, and now I'm managing my own tent. So I'm always looking, even in my own personal life, I'm always looking for ways to improve whatever is going on. It's okay, Walter, it's okay to try to improve, but in order to improve, we have to have the players that are willing to change some things. That's all I can say.
Anything from your side, Anthony?
Well, you know, it is.
You're in and out. You're
That's
cutting in
a
and out.
tough question. Really. Sorry, I'm still on the road. So that's a tough question, really. But what I would like is that to have more persons from the diaspora coming to Barbados for crop over. What we will do is to try to put on as best as possible, a very exciting and imaginative costume that captures the imaginations of all the persons overseas, and they will clamor to Barbados. So instead of Barbados making $100 million in 8 weeks, we can make 200 million US in 8 weeks. That's what I would like to see happen.
Is Walter willing to speak?
I was just going to
Is
ask him
Walter
if
willing
that
to
answers his question.
Eleanor,
What
Yes,
would you
sir.
like to see, Walter?
let me say good evening to Eleanor first.
Good afternoon, Walter.
You know, if you were next to me, I would hug you, right?
Walter, what has become of you? You're
Let me just
With
tell
her-
you, I am going
No,
through
with her,
some,
with all the protocols, you would have got a hug.
I am going through some old negatives, and I hope I come across some pictures of you either singing or in costume. And if I find them, you can promise I will send them to you.
not in costume, Walter.
Here, if I said you had all types of costumes.
On the
No,
stage.
don't let's go there.
On the stage.
On the stage. Thank you. Yeah, look, let me put it this way. I've been living overseas, and after 2018, I can say I do not think I have missed watching a crop over Calypso final. I don't watch it, but once it is on, I set time aside and I watch, I mark, I grade, I predict. And there are times when I would write. So I'm saying there's a large number of population of people in the USA who, if the show is available, let's say as video, that you can come in and watch and all of that, there are a number of us that will get some cuckoo and some flying fish and whatever it is, and sit down and have a party. So that in terms of the model, how can you produce a model that can be videoed, that can be produced in a way that it can be recorded, given all the rights and all of that, and then sent to the general public? You know, I know, Eleanor, like, you know, how hard it is to get Barbados to change anything. You went through that hospital. I know that. But I still think that there's an opportunity that in looking at the model as a festival and all of that, there are a number of things that can be done in terms of how it is organized and packaged in such a way that you can make the millions, and Anthony can make the millions of dollars that he so desires. But I don't get the feel that there is, that if people, we are willing to look at new ideas and all of that. Like now that you have the disruption and all that, I thought it was a beautiful opportunity to look at the idea of regions. So you're cutting it down small so that you can control it. You have the video cameras, you have the videos, all of that. That with that, you could get a product. So this year could be a test run of a way in which is organized differently, but give it all the quality. And then by next year, as you come up, you come back on stream, that you're ready to go. But that is something I think that the whoever's
Okay.
responsible should look at. And that is what I mean about changing the model, the way in which the information flows. The other thing would be, it is about time that design and all that should be part of the school curriculum, so that what Anthony is suggesting would become norm, because there's a lot of science, there's a lot of math, there's a lot of things in doing designs. So why, if you start teaching people the basics in schools, then the job would become easier. Anyhow, I talk, you know, talk too much.
All right, Walter.
Mm-hmm.
Annette, just give me a minute there to respond to Walter.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, for the first time since I have been managing the tent, the All Stars tent, I made a decision this year. One, I will start my show earlier. And two, it would be going, no, you're the first to hear this, by the way.
Mhm.
It will be going pay-per-view
Okay.
and live streaming.
Beautiful.
So all of that is already in the works for the 18th.
Yes.
And then the NPF, they are going to be helping out with some finances because they're not doing the tent awards at the end anymore like before. So what they're doing, they're going to assist with the judging night's expenses. I'm sorry,
Okay.
they're not paying everybody and everything.
Uh-huh.
And part of that deal also is that they will live stream my judging night and everybody's judging night. So what is happening is you're stepping in the right direction. They are stepping in the right direction, but I decided, let me do the whole hog. I've decided to do pay-per-view
Mhm.
as well as the streaming for my opening and my judging night. So they will do the payments for that. I will do the payment for the first night of the Calypso tent. So you are overseas. And I dare say what would happen is that you will share your number with me and I will send the link to you when it's all set up. And I guess Annette could send it to anyone else. I don't know your congregation. So I believe anyone else that is interested would get to see it that are overseas. I want the people that live here to come out.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Well,
Alan.
once you let Michael know, I will know, because how come I know about this evening that I am watching?
Which Michael?
Michael Brown.
Or Michael sent it to you?
But that's how I know. Once he tell me that Eleanor on it, I say, got to be
Oh,
here.
Annette spoke directly to me. Annette spoke directly to me. So,
Once Michael
that's-
told me that Eleanor is on it, I tell him I'm going to drop whatever I'm doing and I'm going to watch. Sorry, Anthony, I can't say that I can't speak about you in the way I can speak about Eleanor.
Walter, before you said that you were gonna done talk, but I don't want you to done talk just yet, because I want to know, when you said that you are getting together with your friends for the Kadooment party or crop over party with the Flying Fishing Go, I want to know what protocols you all have in place when you get together with your friends. Are there any protocols?
No, my protocol.
Is just a close-knit?
My protocol for the last 2 years is to keep my tail quiet because I do not know what the other person is going to do. So I found other ways to socialize and to enjoy myself. But you ain't getting me out there on no Saturday, going in no place, playing dominoes and eating breadfruit and all of that. Don't care how sweet it is. Don't care how sweet it is.
Don't care how good it is.
I cannot control the other person that is out there. So the way I protect myself is straight from the Bible. If you go back to the Bible with Noah, who was a very obedient, God said, protect human life. And when Noah was obedient, he shut the door. Okay, and God did not open, when Noah sent out the dove, and it came back with a leaf, and nature says, okay, it's time to go, then the door was opened. So the way I stay safe, as hard as it is, you want to make money, you want to socialize and all of that. But we are in a situation where I think that as you develop anything, you need to look at the protection of human life and what it is that you need to start doing differently. And that's straight from the Bible.
Fair enough.
Right,
That's
right,
good. I am listening to you quite carefully. And that's a very good segue into the question that's in the chat from Alana for Anthony. It says, can Mr. Lane share more on what the possible protocols will be for Kadooment Day and 4-day mourning? Anthony, can you share a little bit more about the protocols with respect to the masqueraders, the band leaders, and the bands and so on? Anthony? I know he's still with us.
They will be the same. It is for the, yeah, you can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
Right.
Yes,
for,
we can.
For the band members, you either have to be fully vaccinated or you will have to be tested. For the personnel, for the staff that is working in the hospitality side of it, all right, who will be looking after the meals and sharing drinks and so on, you have to be fully vaccinated and tested. You could do the rapid test. I think that's 72 hours before. And obviously, you would have to be negative. So those are the protocols as we speak right now. The numbers are coming down, as Alna already said. So I don't know, going forward the next 5-6 weeks, sometime into July, end of July, what will happen. But that is what it is right now. And remember, we are going on the ABC highway because of COVID as well. So, that's what it is right now.
And you're quite right. We don't know what's going to happen because the things change so quickly. I mean, it's very fluid, whether it's the situation at hand or the protocols themselves. I'm not sure if that answered Lana's question. However, she does have her hand up and perhaps would like to intervene at this point. Lana?
Hi, good night, everyone. It didn't quite answer my question. I think my question is more around, okay, you're in the band. Normally, you would be jumping. Anybody can go between whatever section. It doesn't matter. You have breakfast sometimes before. You have lunch, and you can gather. In a normal environment out of COVID, there'll be, you could basically mix with anybody you want to mix with. So my real question is, in this COVID environment, is there any kind of protocol that the band will have to follow in terms of maybe limiting or restricting movement of people? Is there anything like that, or is it like anything goes as it was before?
Eleanor, Anthony? Anthony,
I think
Anthony, you dropped out there a little bit. Eleanor, can you add anything to Lana's query? I know that Anthony, you're back in? Oh, yes, he's back in. I think we might have missed some of your conversation, Anthony, because you dropped out for a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. So I am back, and
okay.
I think it would be right. So you will have the protocols, which is fully vaccinated or tested, but there was nothing. If you want to wear your mask, I guess you can, but there's no regulations saying that you have to wear a mask or anything like that. But it is actually to the individual, right? But once you're in the band and you're on the road, you will be pretty much doing the same as before.
That was your query was answered, Lana, to some extent.
Yes, it was. Anything goes. In other words, we're back to normal.
Mask or no mask, any and everything goes. Rodney in the chat, also Rodney Millington indicated, or at least queried, that in light of the number of boosters that are available, does fully vaccinated have a new meaning other than just 2 shots? Because we have the booster shot. And as a matter of fact, I heard one senior person said that they had 3 boosters. I didn't even know you could get 3 boosters. But when you are asking persons to be fully vaccinated, is that just the 2 vaccination shots? Do you know if that is what has been accepted by the Ministry of Health?
2 vaccines.
The two
The
shots. That's it.
the two shots, the 2
vaccinations.
shots, yeah. The 2
Okay.
vaccinations, yeah. That's fully vaccinated.
The
Mhm.
booster is really a plus. The booster is a plus, but not a requirement.
Mhm. Any other queries for the persons in the chat? I know I have a query because, and this is certainly pre-COVID, because I have seen that last ban that comes up the road, the one that you have to run out of the way. I call it the residue ban because it literally rakes up everything along the way and brings it up. Is that still going to obtain? Because that is no bubble, high risk. Is that still going to be something that is going to be entertained?
Well, right now, yes. You're talking about the Roberts truck. That's what they call it.
Oh, that's the name of it, officially Roberts? Not
Yeah, they
residue,
call it the
okay.
Roberts. Yeah, they call it the Roberts truck. Right now, yes. That will still happen. What that actually does is try to keep the persons that want to jump from going and trying to jump in the other bands. So the persons that don't pay, that wants to jump, that Roberts truck is there, is provided for them. So that's what that actually is supposed to do. Right?
So if that still obtains, then everything we've said tonight, that negates it, because you're seeking to protect persons, to keep them in the bubble, and yet you have this last truck that just scrapes up everybody and bring them up the road.
Well, we don't know what will happen there.
You dropped to there again, Anthony. What was that? Sorry.
No, we don't know what will happen there when it comes to the protocols and so on, because they will have to speak to the authorities that that will look after that. I don't know what will happen there if they would, I don't know, but I guess not. I guess it would be a free for all, like normal, I guess.
Because persons, as you quite rightly said, I think the excitement for some of them is just, it has nothing to do with non-payment. It's just a case of that free for all and that revelry and that behavior. That's just the way they want to enjoy Kadooment. Yes, Eleanor.
Annette, you've cleared. No, it's me, it's Lana. Clearly, you've missed
Lana,
the
hi.
anything goes piece.
Sorry?
Clearly, you've missed it. Clearly, you've missed the messaging that anything goes. We're back to normal.
Yeah, that would certainly carry things back to normal, that last row. Eleanor, you had a comment?
Right? However we look at this, we are going to have persons who are going to be okay with what's going on. We're going to have persons like Walter. Walter is not ready yet to come back out. And hence, that's why I made the decision, even though I would like the persons out of their homes. Yes, because this is what we do. We put on a show for our persons to be right there. And a lot of persons say, wait, Eleanor, you still singing? I say, yeah. I said, why are you still singing? I say, yeah. Because one of the joys for me is to actually be on stage and watch the audience respond to the songs that are being done. That is just it for me. I love to see that. So crop over, you want persons to leave their homes and come out. But I also have to be wise enough to know that some people cannot come, will not come, and are not interested in coming out, right? So that is why I decided to do the show pay-per-view and let other people who want to stay home watch it from at home. I really, you have to get with the times. You're gonna find people. They have some people who never put on a mask. They have some people up to now don't like to wear a mask. I can't breathe properly in a mask. I can't. And I can't sing in a mask. So if I, like Anthony, I'm saying, look, it's a business that you're doing, I have to go and do the right thing. Either gonna get vaccine or I'm gonna have the test done. I'm already vaccinated. So I think I'm okay. I think that I'm not proof, but I think I'm okay when it comes to going and doing what I have to do and be safe about it after. So we're gonna have all kinds of queries. Nobody's gonna come up with the right mix. Prime Minister, the President, Mr. Chapman, none of us are gonna come up with the right mix. We have to take responsibility for ourselves. Do what you know you have to do, right? Make sure and clean up your hands. They say don't touch your face. I don't know if that's even a part of COVID anymore, because I keep touching my face. Yes. So again, we have to do what we have to do.
Definitely.
I'm sorry
Any
that
other queries?
I'm sorry that the congregation did not put up their faces, though. I would have liked to see who we were speaking to.
Yes.
I know Walter.
Same here.
I know Walter, but I don't know Lana. I don't know.
Oh, Michael
and
and
others,
Lana.
because you're hiding behind, because they're hiding behind their camera, then they're not going to talk, you know. Some of them are like that. So they need to turn on their camera so that
Michael and Lana are both. Hey, we can see Anthony now. Michael and Lana are both members of the Conversations Committee, so I can see. Yes, I know what they look like, but you may not know what Lana looks like. If she can turn her camera
You will
on.
certainly see my face shortly, Eleanor.
That is true.
As I do my thank you. So not to worry, I'll be there shortly in showing my face.
Okay.
Hi.
Can I throw an idea out to Eleanor, to whatever it is? Sometimes when things look to be going badly, I mean, we go back to the scriptures again. There are many times that God and Jesus use adversity to work for the greater good. So if there's a number of people who you know are not going to go there, but still want to enjoy something, then the question is, how far are we away from, let's say, organizing a tent where you have a limited number of people that you video it and you make it available. So once you video and you control the amount of people who come in with all the protocols, then you're actually preserving yourself. I see in the USA, the whole idea of marching bands and other of the festivals, where when you go on the street, it is controlled. Now, once they do that, you have a fixed TV time. And once you give respect to TV, you get sponsorship. So that is pre-planned and organized into it. So you control what is going on the street. But at the same time, there are a lot of people who are at home that are enjoying it. Yes, there are out some people, they're waving flags and all of that. But in the end, like how I see people use Zoom meetings and chat rooms now. The chat room is organized and then you get to know each other. Like I get to see your face now. I get to feel your vibes on it. And after time, we can have an interaction that's beautiful. So I think that we can move on and broaden our concept, because there are a lot of things that Barbados do that once we do it well, the world will say thank you. And once we accept that and just start doing things for ourselves, but look to the wider world. I mean, look, here am I tonight, listening to a production of Holy Trinity Church. Could you want anything better than that?
Not only will the world say thank you, but they will seek to replicate what we are doing. So
correct.
Definitely.
You're correct. All right. So I think that we have to look, how do you have the protocols and all of that? And once you set the program and people get accustomed to it, believe you me, they will join you.
Well, as a follow on to what Walter is saying and person's interests, Everton in the chat wants to know what is the cost, Eleanor, of the pay-per-view. So you seem to have an interested person already, and we haven't even finished yet.
The CBC and the videographer, they're getting together probably as early as tomorrow to finalize everything. But I did attend the initial meeting, and it's not going to be over what the door price would be. It will probably be the 50, it should be like 25 US dollars. It will be in that range.
Mhm.
So it's
All
going
right.
to be like the same thing.
So whether in person, in terms of face-to-face or on pay-per-view, that you can expect the same price approximately around that same area. It sounds like it.
Around that same price.
Mhm. All right,
Yes.
any other queries, persons in the chat? So certainly we've been challenged.
And it just for Eleanor.
Yes.
Like Eleanor, that maybe adding to your tent. When we have Calypsonians and all of them, they all have beautiful costumes and all of that. But who made the costumes? What was the theme that went into it? I'm talking about the way we can tell stories to promote what we are doing. You look at a lot of the costumes, the outfits of a lot of the Calypsonians, each of them tell a story. So you'll hear a little bit about the era with the ranger and all of that. But how were the designers? What are their background? Where did they come from? Start telling the stories. There are a lot of stories out there that we can tell. So when I hear your Calypsonians, then I want to look forward to say, you know, who did the outfits and all that. And who knows, maybe I'll write some Calypsos for you.
So it sounds like we need to be very good
That's a
about what we
great
do.
idea.
Huh?
And I do agree with your feedback there on the outfits. In some cases though, well, let me start with my area, the background vocalist. I travel a lot. And when I go overseas and I see something that looks, I say, that looks like stage. But then another time might come and I would say, you know what? Let me give Debbie some work, or let me give Paula some work. I buy the fabric from right here at her beds, or whoever is selling good fabric, and that person gets that. So I understand what you're saying. In terms of the Calypsonians, it would be also interesting because sometimes they have like the perfect example is Ronnie Clark. Ronnie Clark always tries to choose something that is coming from his song. But I don't know what he will sing in this year because his song is called Mia Love Dees. The letter D apostrophe S. Mia Love Dees. So I don't know what he will dress like this year. So it is an interesting concept, but we normally do for sure who wrote the song and who arranged it for the persons who are attending the show to hear that. So it would just be a little added something if we did add the costume design.
Well, Ellen, how good is it? Smokey with you or with another time? Smokey Roy.
Smokey?
Yeah.
Smokey pass.
No, I don't think Smokey does anything anymore.
Okay. So it means since he came,
I believe there's a new band leader now.
Since he came back to Barbados, he is not doing much work at all.
I haven't.
Okay.
I haven't heard a lot of him.
All right. So based on what Walter you were saying is that we need to be very good about what we're doing, very, very professional, be creative, and perhaps the world would continue to be a path to our door, at least to our crossover.
It always works.
In terms of the protocol that you have heard this evening, Walter, do you think those are sufficient for us? Do you think those are enough, or do you think that we need to do something more? Because I think person's fear is that once crop over is over, you're going to find a spike.
Let me backpedal. Let me say
you didn't have a spike after cricket.
Yeah, no. But let me say this to you. My background is physics. So once I realize the nature of the virus, then it's going to repeat itself, and you're going to have the spikes and all the time. And each time it comes back, It is going to travel faster, easier to catch, but the danger seems to reduce. So what can you do? I am vaccinated. I booster. I try to stay away from crowds and all that. So you can do more than what the right thing. The difficulty is the whole, how do you build trust? Now, when you're in a society that already don't trust each other, that pushes it up. When you have a society that may say move away from the church, where that's based on faith and trust, then it makes it harder. But if I'm an organizer or a leader, all I can do is to do the right thing. And I can't do any more than that. Just do the right thing.
That's
be
right.
excellent in what I do. And I cannot do any more than that.
All right.
Yeah.
Everton, you had queried the pay-per-view and Eleanor had given a response, but I see you have your hand up now. Maybe it's a follow on or you have a different query for us. Please proceed.
That's a different question I have.
Oh, sure. Please proceed.
I'm more concerned. I'm more concerned with the 4-day morning thing than the normal Kaduma. Because you're going to have a lot of young people at that 4-day morning. And I know young people, they like to go get abandoned. And they will do the things like it's normal. How do you enact for the cause to shield those? Anyone?
In every circumstance, the Barbadian culture does not stop itself from talking. So if you have a mature crowd, and my crowd is normally a mature crowd, and we had a young person, you ain't gonna find nobody coming in all stars and taking off the clothes. It's not a Kaduma day. But surely if someone was doing something that they were not supposed to be doing, I have it in my heart that some mature or more mature person would tell the person, no, that is not going to be tolerated. And you have other people, you have things like ushers, Anthony and the bands would have their own way of doing it. But that is why I guess Anthony was saying, yes, they did have to check out if the Roberts van is going to be on the road, because you know that you are not going to have the Roberts van on the road. You're going to have trouble with some stupid boys who would want to push their way into the band. But for sure, in a Kaduma atmosphere, in a crop over, in a tent atmosphere, we would hardly find someone going out of line, doing what they felt like, and somebody not saying you've gone down the wrong road.
There was someone else with their hand up, but it seems to have been taken down. There was someone with the number 1 beside it, I think it was. So that's the second person that expressed some concerns about the 4-day morning jump up. Lana did initially, and now Everton. I agree. You can't.
We will have, though, every band will have its security and so on. And as Eleanor said, if you see things going in a direction that you don't like, I'll be there. All the band leaders will be there, and they would just, pull them in line. But the same protocols will have to be adhered to as usual. So, I don't know what more you can do, right? But we'll be there, and if there's anything we are saying that we don't like, we could always pull the person over to the side and have a quiet word with them.
Mm-hmm. I agree. There will be a cause for a lot more vigilance if we are going to stay safe and play crop over safely, for sure. Any other queries in the chat itself?
I looked at some of the names. I saw names. I saw Cynthia, Dion, Golda, Jenny Jennifer, John Seeley. I like to hear from people, unless it is they don't want to talk to me.
We also love to hear from persons, but I know that some persons just come to garner information. Some of them carry back information to their friends and families to exactly what was said pertaining to the protocols. And just basically, as we said, we wanted to speak about crop over, but in crop over in the manner that in terms of keeping it safe. Normally, perhaps we would have spoken about crop over in July, but I know you guys are going to be extremely busy, so it was brought forward to June in preparation for persons to know what's out there, for persons to know what's happening, and for the persons to know what to expect from you, and for you to tell them what you expect in turn. I can hear some noise.
I want to add to that. COVID did a lot of things, and it's not all bad. COVID did some cleansing. COVID did some uncovering, and you know, the list, I believe the list can go on if other people had a real feeling for it. But you know, for the first time, I had a phone call from one of our ambassadors, and he said to me, I know that you know I'm associated with another tent, but I have someone I want you to take into your tent. And there it was. I have a pastor, very popular pastor, who will be joining my cast for the first time this year. So COVID did a lot of things. People not having money did a lot of things. And it's making people either come out, express themselves differently. So even though that we know that we don't like the fact that we lost some people to death because of COVID, COVID was like a cleanser. It really cleaned up a whole lot and made people think differently about what they can do, where they are in life, what can they do to improve themselves, even their skills. It did a lot. Some people got fat, some people got slim, some people went a little, you know, mentally ill. It did a lot of things. But for us, each one of us, we have to know what it did for us, what it can do, and what the time and the period of 2 years meant to each of us, and how did it make us improve. That's what we have to take about this COVID, otherwise we will all go mad.
Well, certainly I hope
too many
for those persons
protocols,
that
there's too many
changes, that it made the majority of us better, not bitter. I see Everton has his hand up again. Everton?
Yes. Is the Association of Tent Managers still functional?
You mean, what's the name of it now? No,
Batman
no.
or what?
I was trying to remember the name. B, it begins with B.
Batman.
No, but it's not functioning anymore though.
All right. Why I asked that question is, seeing that you're going out and as a leader and putting on a show for us, Walter and myself, at home, I thought it would have been a good idea if the tent managers would have got together and shared your vision. I like the idea that you have put out. I know it might cost some money, but you can recoup it. We have a lot of Bajans living overseas who I know would be glad to see a tent from their living room or bedroom. So that's why I asked the question if the Tent Managers Association was still functional. Thank you.
To answer your question, all of the Judgenites, all of the Judgenites will be shown on television. But I decided to take the financially big task, because it is a finance, of trying to do it for All Stars opening night, because our opening night is always spectacular. So I decided I wanted to try something new, and I said, look, this is one of the things we would just have to get the word overseas to as many people as possible. But I'm going to try it for the first time and see how it goes. But it is on the cards for everybody for their judging night.
All right, thanks very much for your comments and your queries. I'm going to go to Anthony. I'm going to go to Anthony, let him say we're going to do a little bit of a wrap up. Anthony, I'm going to give you a minute to give your final comments, and then I'll come to Eleanor with her final comments as well. Anthony? Hey,
so I just want to say it has been a real privilege to be invited and to be on with Holy Trinity. And I look forward to another invitation, I would say. It has been good, it has been enlightening, and thanks for having me. And stay tuned, and you will hear as how things go. It may be a lot better than we anticipate, so because you never know, things might work out a lot better than we plan. So again, thanks, and we look forward to your support and your prayers on that day. I know a lot of people don't think about those things, but I remember a couple of years ago, I brought in Canon Burke from St. David's, and he came in and he prayed for the band that day before we went out on the road. So, we will be, happy to have the congregation at Holy Innocent to remember us on that day, and Eleanor and her team as well, as a whole. So thank you much, and it's been a great. Thanks much.
And Holy Trinity definitely will remember you in every step of the way. And thank you for joining us this evening. Eleanor, your final comments?
Okay, I will just continue a bit from what Anthony was saying just now, in that even though I think I know how some church people view crop over, calypso tents, Kadooment, I want to say that nothing happens for All Stars unless we do our praying. And matter of fact, one of the surprises that we will give this year is a little display by a gospel artist, and then a little display by the Calypsonians. But in all that we do, we give thanks. And I heard Anthony say that he has a church background. And if y'all know me for all the years, you would know that I was actually a soloist in the Christian Mission Church when I was growing up. And then, things happen. But I want to thank you, Annette, and thank the Holy Trinity Church for inviting me. I talk about these matters, talk to children who are given trouble. I talk to adults who are given trouble, because that is my day job. I work at the probation department. When it comes to talking, my mother, she said to me, Eleanor, why did they choose you? I said, because I like talking. I like talking. But where did I get that from? She said, oh Lord, but because my mother is also a talker. So I want to say that I enjoy whatever I do. And to tell you yes, Annette, to tell you yes, that I was going to be willing to do this is all me.
Yeah.
It's all me. The only thing is I go to sleep around 7 o'clock. But I'm still here because yes, I do. I actually do. And I put on a sleep before I came on this Zoom meeting already. So I want to thank you all. Thank everybody who participated. And anytime that you want me and you think it is something I can handle, you can put in that call to me, Annette. You have me on WhatsApp now, and don't be a stranger. And I thank you all.
Thank you. I look forward to that. As I said at the beginning, COVID-19 pandemic brought our national festival to a pause, but it is back. Modified, amended, scaled, but it is back. But in the midst of planning, partying, and parading, we still have to keep ourselves safe. And I'll invite one of our members of our Conversations Committee, Michael Brown, to give the summary, and followed by that, Alana Fingal, who is also the other member of the Conversations Committee, to move the vote of thanks and the closing prayer. Over to you, Michael.
Thank you, Chair Annette. Tonight we discuss crop over, play safe maps, but we would have gone wide from playing safe maps to speak to the intricacies of self-responsibility. And one of the things that came through the discussions from Mrs. Rice and Mr. Lane was that we must take responsibility for ourselves. A number of times, what protocols would be in place came up. And we still have concerns in terms of the protocols, notwithstanding we would not know what the protocols will be when we come to 4-day morning jam and also Kadooment Day. But in terms of the wide-ranging discussion we had, it was interesting that the whole idea of design and crop over being a business, and it was instructive that we had the two persons we had who were involved. One was a band leader and one was the manager of a tent. And we saw the interconnectivity with regard to those two things. And as I said, what came through, these are businesses which have been run and need to be run successfully. And I'm not here to commend, but I thought it was interesting that Mrs. Rice did not let the challenges of COVID-19 stop her, because she has become innovative with regard to making sure that she's put her pay-per-view in place and streaming, because like persons like Afton Hunt and Walt Ely are not leaving home. So she's actually reached out to them in that way. On the note in terms of being responsible, notwithstanding we did not have Mr. Chapman here, enough came up about self-responsibility and following the protocols. And even though that, as I said, we will not know what the protocols will be in August, it is up to us to be responsible, to get vaccinated, get your boosters, because at the end of the day, we must be selfish when it comes to COVID-19 and look after ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lana?
Hi, good night, everyone. So, Eleanor, first of all, you get to finally see a face, to put a face to the name. So, yes, I'm Lana. And I want to take this opportunity to thank you for joining tonight. I thought that your presentation was quite interesting. I like the fact that, as Michael said, you remain innovative and you change with the times. And as you correctly said, COVID brought out some good things and some bad things. And I think one of the good things it brought out was really innovation. And it's interesting. Yeah. And I'm happy to see that the tent has embraced that innovation. And I encourage you to continue to move forward. And thank you for joining us tonight. Mr. Lane, I also want to thank you for joining us tonight. Your contributions were also quite informative. And I wish you success going forward in the Kadooment. Which band are you with? Is he with Contact, or which one is he with?
Contact.
Contact. Okay. Well, okay, good. Well, I wish both of you success. I am very much a crop over person myself. I've always used to attend the tents. I would always go to jump in 4-day. I would jump in Kadooment. So yes, I am missing crop over, but in some ways I'm still like Mr. Edie. where I'm not quite ready for the big crowds yet.
Yeah.
Yes, I do move around and go out and so, but I'm not quite there yet, as yet. So anything you can do and where I can embrace you online, sure, I'll join you there. But don't look for me jumping in anything on the road this year. But to both of you, I say thanks. And for everyone else who joined tonight, I also want to say thank you for coming out and participating in our discussion. And so now, we now move to end the night on a word of prayer. And so, Almighty God, we started this discussion with you tonight, and we're closing it with you. We thank you for how you've blessed this episode of Conversations tonight, as we leave full of knowledge of what we should do to have a safe crop over. As we leave this meeting, we pray that people will be mindful of the protocols amongst all the merriment. And we ask that you continue to direct us and that your wisdom will guide us as we go our separate ways tonight. Good night, everyone. Amen.
Good
Amen.
night.
Good night.
Good
I
night.
just want to remind everyone that
Thank you.
Conversations is held every first Tuesday of the month. So therefore, we look forward to you joining us again.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.